going to revisit an older revelation. On our way to a new one. It's about a 2-minute message. Maybe about a 20-minute introduction. Then you can shout. Genesis 18. This is the story in verse 2, where 3 men appeared to Abraham, at that point still called Abram, in the plains of Mamre. They appeared to him. How many remember this? That's the subject. 3 minus 1, 2 men. Verse 2, and he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. When he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground. In fact, he bows down and runs to meet them. These are not 3 ordinary men. We find out in reading this story that they're angels. Verse 19 says, chapter 19, verse 1, and there came 2 angels to Sodom and Egypt. They're the 2 of the 3 in the very beginning. In the beginning, it calls them 3 men. One of the men stayed behind talking to Abraham. The 2 other men went to Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah, and here they're identified as angels, which they were in the very beginning. That's why Abraham ran and bowed down to them. And said, my Lord of now. Interesting. He didn't say my Lord, but my Lord. He addressed the 3 as one. If now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. Abram didn't get a whole lot of company out there in the desert, but it sounds like he's very hospitable. And I will fetch a morsel of bread and comfort your hearts. After that you shall pass on, for therefore you come to your servant. And they said, all 3 of them, so do as thou hast said. It says they said. So you got to assume that all 3 said, so do as thou hast said. All at the same time, like one. Then get to the narrative. Verse 9. And they said to him, where is Sarah thy wife? Again, one is asked the question. All 3 of them do. They said, where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, behold, in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life, and lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son, and Sarah heard the tent door, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age. That means they were old. They're already old, but they were stricken old. That's when you move slow. My kids said that today. I think it was you. Who said you're moving like an old man. Hey man. Just like the old man. Well stricken. I was stricken. And it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am old, waxed old. I guess that was just stiff like wax. Shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? I mentioned when I go through this text. She didn't say anything about having a baby. That was like, she said, shall I have pleasure? So I even get to that part where I might have a baby. And the Lord said unto Abram, remember Abram addressed the three men as my Lord. But all three of them speak each time in unison. Abraham, or the Lord said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child, which am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? He's proven right here in this presentation, he can do anything. He wears three hats to match his three titles. And since it's called here three men show up, Abraham addresses three men as my Lord, like as one. So I'll get some water for you, and they all three said, so do it. And then all three of them asked the question, where is Sarah their wife? He's giving Abraham a vivid illustration that I can do anything, nothing's too hard for me, and I being one guy can appear in all three offices at one time. I'm all three. He saw the whole Godhead. Okay? And that's why he goes from three men to him calling them Lord. And then it says in verse 13, the Lord said to Abraham, so and so and so forth. Okay? I'm going to read the next few verses. Not has anything to do with the story, it's like it. Then Sarah denied. He asked why she laughed. Sarah denied, saying, I laugh not. For she was afraid. Now, Sarah didn't know who these guys were because she was in the tent. She knew now. Because she laughed in the tent. And she didn't laugh out loud, she laughed to herself. You know? And the angel asked, or the Lord asked, why did she laugh? So there she got afraid. And she said, I didn't laugh. And he said, nay, but thou didst laugh. Gives you a peek into the judgment here. You know, God's going to be absolute in the judgment, and you might say what you're going to say, he's going to come back and say, no, you did. Nay, but thou didst laugh. And as you know, that's how Isaac got his name. His name means laughter. You got to put flesh and blood on it. Think about this old woman actually had this child, like he said she would have it. She's 90 years old. She calls him for dinner. Hey, Isaac, time to eat. Hey, Isaac. She probably laughed every time she called his name. It tickled her. First time she laughed out of doubt because it was a joke. So he said, call his name Isaac when he was born. Laughter. Every time you call his name or think about it, you're going to think about the day you laugh. And I believe she laughed every time she called Isaac's name. She giggled inside. Got this old woman and got this child like that, like the Lord said I would. Right? Now he goes to the case of Sodom and Gomorrah. Verse 21, I will go down now and see what they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which has come unto me, and if not, I will know. He knew already. But it shows how particular God is in judgment. He's not going to even judge something. He knows that checks it out. He said, I'm going to go down there. And the men, 22, turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before the Lord. So it takes one of these two men and identifies him as the Lord. And the other two men, take your pick, they went on down to Sodom. 19. Well, let's read a little more. Get the end of the story. This one, Abraham starts to call God the righteous judge. So God's going to go kill him, right? 24, 23. And Abraham drew near and said, wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Peradventure there be 50 righteous people within the city. Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and if the righteous shall be as the wicked, that be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth? Who's he talking to? Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? And the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, and I will spare all the place for their sake. Abraham answered, to behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord. You realize how serious this is. He raised this issue, and he didn't expect God to answer just like he did. God said, I'll spare for 50. Hit him too quick. I thought about it, so I'm taking myself to talk to the Lord again. Now, take upon me to speak to the Lord, which him but dust and answer. He said, I came out of the ground, and here I am talking to my Creator. And basically trying to Jew him down. Peradventure shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous. Wilt thou destroy the city for lack of 5? And he said, if I find there are 45, I will not destroy it. And he spake unto him yet again and said, peradventure shall be 40 found there. And he said, I will not do it for 40's sake. Now, you know, you can turn against somebody's nerves. Right? Like kind of pushing the envelope a little too far, okay? And he said to him, oh, let the Lord be angry. And I will speak. You've been speaking. Peradventure, there shall 30 be found there. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And he said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak it to the Lord. Peradventure, there shall be 20 found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 20's sake. And he said, oh, let not the Lord be angry. And I will speak yet but this once, peradventure 10 shall be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake. He got God down from 50 to 10. We know the story, the end of the story, he was not destroyed for 4's sake, for 3's sake. The angel came down to take them out to tear up the city, burn the city. They didn't lie. We got orders from God to burn this place down. We can't set forth judgment until you're taken out of here. It's a type of direction. Again. We will not go through that 7-year tribulation period. God has commissioned a flyaway date for us. And before the judgment comes down, the wrath of God falls down, he's going to snatch this church out of here. That's what's showing you. And it says, while they lingered, so the angels took them by the hand, and I believe they flew them out the city, and set them outside the city boundaries, and then fire and brimstone came down. But they were saved, even though they were lollygagging. And the angels said, you got anybody else here? Besides, y'all, you have any sons, daughters, sons-in-laws, daughters-in-law, they're ready to save anybody he says, and that's when God gave us a list that time. He said, anybody want to put on, put them on. And I'll save them too. And Lot said, I want you to save my sons-in-law and their wives, my daughters, in spite of the fact that Lot already talked to them, they thought Lot was somebody who mocked into them, and they didn't have anything to do with it. Had Lot said that, those angels would have snatched all his sons-in-laws anyhow. Want to save them. They'd have gone, they'd have been saved. You know, they might have wanted to leave, but I'm sure they would have been very glad that they got snatched out when they saw that fire and brimstone coming down from heaven. And they say, you know, a lot, you know, we thought you were a joke, but thanks so much for taking us out of here. You're going to see folks in heaven who's going to be ever grateful to you. You know, that you put their name on the list, and God saved them, even though they didn't want to be saved. Right. And God said, "Who's going to get to heaven and object to it?"
That's right. That's right.
So we'll send you back. You know? And get all the inheritance that God's going to give you. And they come in full status. Don't come in as reserved list people, and as second-class citizens. Your list comes in the same status you're going in, all the way. If there came two angels to Sodom and Egypt, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face to the ground. Abraham taught Lot something. When Lot saw these men come in, he knew that they weren't just men, and he bowed down to them. Right? All right, that's the foundation. Let's go to the New Testament and get the Revelation. Remember, I was Sunday I was preaching, I think it was the last Sunday, 2 weeks ago I was preaching on Sunday. I said, let me go check out something first. I'm going to leave that alone because I might put out something wrong and I can, here it is. Acts chapter 1. I've been locked in, been here for years. It's going to hit you like right now, so I'm going to look at your face change immediately when you do this. Verse 6. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, Lord, saying, Lord, wilt thou this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? He said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father put in his own power. But you shall receive power after the Holy Ghost is come upon you. And you shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria, unto the uttermost part of the earth. And I got to clarify this for our other audience. A lot of people have taken this to mean that you cannot know the day of the coming of the Lord. They missed the whole point. He's talking to the Jews. We're asking questions about their country. Look, it says again, Lord, without this time, when the Holy Ghost comes, wilt thou this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? We're asking questions as Jews about national Israel, not the church. Hasn't come yet. So he said it's not for you to know the times or the seasons the Father put his own power. He's talking about regarding you guys. So the question is, when are you going to restore Israel at that time? It's now 2012 and he hasn't done it yet. Why have I got to answer that question? He said, it's not for you to know. You'll be long dead. It's not for you to know. But when your ancestors come along in their day, they'll know. Because I'm telling them. Well, meanwhile, I got something taking place here, and I'll address the church issues before I address any of your issues. Because you guys are about to get put on hold for a long time. All right? And when they had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up. And the cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven, as he went up, behold, two men. Stood by them in white apparel, which also said, both men, said the same thing, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus, which is taken up from you into heaven, so come in like manner as you see him go into heaven. Number 2, number, adequate witness. Out of the mouth of truth, the witnesses are everywhere to be established. And the ones he used to establish his coming was the Godhead himself. The two men, the Father and the Holy Ghost, stood by and confirmed his return. The same Jesus coming back. Right? That's it. That's great. That's my